We are on.
Hey, we are on and ready to rock the house. What's going on, everybody? Fast Freddie here, and it is Thursday afternoon. We're coming to you live and direct from the Youngstown studio in downtown Youngstown, and we're ready to get something happening here today.
Let's do it.
I said today's show is going to be like an episode of Seinfeld, because that means it's a show about nothing. Last couple weeks here, I'm just getting back to, working out some stuff to get some guests back on, because we had those 3 blockbuster shows in a row, and then we kind of went into a lull, and hopefully next week we'll be back on with with the big show, but you got me here, so we'll pull something off. We'll see what happens.
You see, I got you laid out with the coffee and all of your stuff, the water.
Yeah. Everything is ready to rock.
Your brown M&Ms, your seat, 72 degrees exactly.
It's all set up and ready to go. The only thing is I have no content. I have nothing else. That's it. We got the Pellegrino. We got the espresso, perfectly made espresso, I might add. So we have that. I have all my notes here. We got Joe getting ready to take care of things. And
it's the illusion of a show about to happen.
Yeah. This part here looks just like a show. This part here looks exactly like a show. But we'll see what happens.
Good afternoon.
Hey, good to see you. I see you're watching another rocket launch. What was going on today?
So these are the Starlink rockets. So they basically have like satellite internet. So rather than being like cellular or something like that, you can have this antenna that you ring around with you and get internet no matter where you're at. So Joe the RV dude is going to have internet when he's in remote places of the country. Oh, now that's going to be cool. Yes. That's going to be a big game changer. Heck yeah. Things just keep changing and changing and changing. I see this... there's a group out there that wants to start like a reproductive bank on the moon. And they want to get the DNA and everything from humans and animals and store them on the moon in case of something happens down here. Like the Ark. You got an Ark. It's 2 of everything. Right. There's actually scientists out there that are working on that right now. Wow. I saw that today. I said, man, that's going to be the first thing I'm going to talk to Joe about, because I know those science. I almost want to say science fiction, but nowadays it's not science fiction. It's science fact. So you wonder if, like, when we go and start populating other planets, whether or not people from Earth are going to go there, or they're going to start their own populations from seed. That would be crazy. Yeah, right. But this is the stuff that always amazes me when I find these stories. And sometimes people, when I bring up these stories, like we were talking about that with the brain waves and things like that, and people will go, "Oh, you're crazy. That's a bunch of baloney." It's like, no, this isn't. These are real things, like in the newspaper every day. You just got to find them. Isn't it weird though? Like when in early science fiction, all of this stuff was talked about like it was a joke, whatever. But now it's like in the real world. I don't think there's anything they could come up in a science fiction movie now that would like, what would it be? Yeah, you would just have to sit there and go, yeah, that can happen. That happened last Tuesday. Right. You just have to look back at some of the work of some of these science fiction guys and futuristic writers and look at what was going on and what they predicted. And all of it's coming true and beyond. It's beyond what they had thought could happen. So you going to go to another planet when they offer like Mars trips or travel? I don't know. Not you. Well, I'm too old, because that would be 2 years of travel. 7 months to get there. Okay, 7 months there, 7 months back. That's just over a year. I don't know if I got, maybe if I was younger, but I don't think I have that much time to waste on going to Mars. I think I'll take, even if it's a one-way trip, I'm there, man. If they offer it, I'm going to Mars. You're ready. Oh, heck yeah. I'm there. You going to take some DNA samples and stuff to help populate Mars too, in case something happens? I'm not going to work for anybody. I'm going to go there and try to do my own thing. It's almost like someone sets you on your own deserted island, the kind of shit that you can do. Right. That's me right there. Okay. So leave me alone. I'm going to have my little territory way over here, and I'm going to live. Okay. Not really. I'll probably die in the first day. Yeah. As long as you have a robot, you'll be like Lost in Space. You'll have a robot to do a lot of things and send the robot out to make sure the air is right. Did you ever see that Matt Damon movie where he goes to Mars and he tries to survive there? No. It's something you want to check out because it's probably real to life. The dude goes there. He's the only one there. He's trying to survive by like making a greenhouse, and he gets in all kind of trouble when he's there. That's exactly what it would be like. Well, like what kind of trouble? Well, with the Martians or with or he has a hard time
adapting to things or making things work.
It goes wrong. Like he'll be in the middle of growing plants so he has something to eat, and then a windstorm will kick up and like blow out the windows and kill all of his, potatoes that he's growing and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Could be out doing a walk and get injured, and now he can't do anything. That kind of shit.
Okay, so like a modern day Alone or things like that.
Exactly.
Instead of being at the North Pole, he's on Mars.
He's on Mars. Yeah,
he's having all
it's
kinds
almost
of
like they
stuff
wrote
go
that
wrong.
story once or twice. In
okay, yeah. They probably just rewrote it and said, okay, instead of a husky, he has a robot. Instead of a dog sled, it's some kind of little Mars rover.
Right.
Okay. I see where they're going. Now, when you go up there, are you going with a bunch of different people? You all going to go up there and do your own thing? Or are you going to be like a homesteader? Are you going to go
I might
stake a
split
claim?
off. You split off from them, and that way they're over there. But if I don't need them, I'm not going to run into them. I like alone time.
Oh, okay. So that's your plan.
It is.
All right. So what do you think is going to be the most difficult for you to overcome once you get there?
You know what? I don't know. There's so much stuff we take for granted here in civilization has to offer. Like I even pictured sometimes if you were in the Caribbean and you got stranded, I'd be like, oh yeah, give me that island. And then when you actually live that, where you have to shit by a tree and there's the water that to make it drinkable, you have to do stuff to it. That's a little inconvenient.
Right. And start fires. Right. And even something as easy as starting a fire.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the challenge
I watched Tom Hanks. It was brutal trying to start that first fire.
Oh, exactly. Okay. Yeah. That would be pretty interesting, though. So you want to be the modern day pioneer.
I do.
Homesteader on Mars.
Yep.
That even sounds like a TV show right there. I think I just had something here at the table of good ideas, and I'm not even drinking. Homesteaders on Mars.
Starring Fast Freddie.
It's kind of like Little House on the Prairie meets Lost in Space.
Yep. So yeah, I'm watching this stuff going, and they do have Starship number 11 that's on the launching pad right now. Doesn't have a scheduled launch date, but being that it's sitting out there, like these people are crazy, man. So I had this up a little bit earlier, but they have people watching this launch pad 24 hours a day with live cameras fixed on it, because you never know when you shoot something off.
And you don't know if it's going to crash. I mean, how much money must this guy have that just keeps shooting these multi-million-dollar rockets up and then they crash? And,
right. And
they just get a little more new data every time and they adjust it. And SpaceX.
So every time it blows up, that's millions of dollars that vaporizes. And he's just walking around there like, yep, we learned something for that millions of dollars.
Okay. On this one here, we need bigger fins on it or whatever. Right. We have to have more thrust when we're coming down or whatever. We have to hit the engine at, so many feet instead of so many feet to keep it from crashing or whatever. And they're like, yeah, okay, got it. Okay, next one, let's tweak that. All right, pull out another one. Here we go. Another multi-million-dollar rocket.
Right.
Boom. Here it goes.
Well, like that little airplane that I have over there, the little model.
Yeah.
The first one that I ever built, I spent 6 months building it. I skinned it. I built it, put the motors in there. I took that sucker off and it lasted in the air about 10 seconds. It flopped over and slammed to the ground and went into a million pieces. I was like, screw this hobby. I'm not doing it anymore. And I buy the little cheap ones now instead of the ones that you slave over. So yeah, my heart's not in that.
Oh, that's crazy. Every time I see, these radio controlled airplanes, one day I was fishing out on the Mosquito Lake Causeway. Me and my son were out there, and there was like these 3 good old boys sitting next to us, and they had a million stories. They're talking about everything from, bobcats spooking their coon dogs to you name it. And I guess they lived next door to some guy that had radio control airplanes, and the guy was pissed at them because they were shooting golf balls over into his area in his little field. And when he was landing the airplanes, he was hitting these golf balls and it was screwing up the airplanes. And these guys were like, oh, that guy, he don't know. He's just a son of a bitch. He don't. And I'm thinking, okay, these guys got a lot of money tied up in these. This isn't just like a little something you buy at Toys R Us and you have a rubber band and you shoot it off. And
I got airports and windsockets box and radar.
I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, boy, that poor guy living next to these yahoos.
Oh, man.
Because I could just hear the stuff that they were saying, and I'm thinking, here's this guy. He's got all this money set up in this hobby, expensive hobby, and then all of a sudden he's landing one on his field or whatever, and he hits a golf ball and it goes tipping over. And that would have been a funny scene for a TV show too. Like this guy that's a techie and he lives next door to Larry, Daryl, and Daryl. Right. And they're always doing something stupid.
Yeah, I had a friend that had a drone, and he was doing like a survey on some farmland, and the neighbor thought that he was getting a little too close to his property, and he took a shotgun and blew the thing out of the sky. So $2,000 drone, and this guy get blown away.
And these people are so stupid. You're going to jail now. You're going to have to replace the drone, first of all. Now you got to hire an attorney. Now you're going to get some kind of fine or something. Now you're going to probably be on probation or whatever. But these people, and they're so stupid, they got that mindset. You're taking pictures over my, you can't do that. And,
yeah, right.
First thing I got to think of is getting my gun and shooting it. And then the next thing you know, you're sitting there handcuffed down at the police station.
Explain that one to a judge on Tuesday.
Right. Now, do those people feel stupid after they do that, or do they think the judge is messed up for throwing the book at them?
No, they're even cocky about it after the fact. You do it again, and I'll shoot you out of the sky again.
Nobody flies a drone over my house.
Looking at my wife.
Yeah, right. Yeah, boy, for a while there when drones first came out, you were seeing that all the time.
Right.
And people were shooting drones left and right. Then they finally realized, well, you know what? I can get in big trouble doing this.
Yep. Now, if one's like outside your window, then shoot it out. I mean, come on, that's invasion.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you see what the guy is doing, you see the guy standing on the corner. He's standing there with the drone.
Yep.
Does he have it over your swimming pool where your kids are doing something or whatever? No, like you say, most of these people are out there for real estate or just photographers that want to get a big aerial view. Or maybe they want to take a picture of their neighborhood.
That's right.
That's all. I just want to take a picture of my neighborhood. I want to see my grandmother's house from the drone. That's all I want to do. And these people, get that drone out of my house. Get it away from me. Well, I'll tell you, there's something, though, that a lot of people made money on when they first come out. I wish I would have got in, was, getting a drone and taking real estate pictures.
Yeah.
I ran into several people after it was too late, and they said, you won't believe what they pay me to, come out to a factory, or they're thinking about buying a factory, or they own a factory, and they want to get a lay of it, check the roof, and things like that. They were paying these guys, well, you probably know that, they were paying these guys huge money to get out there in a drone just to take pictures of their building, or somebody wants to sell a house now. You take a drone picture, you can see the whole neighborhood, you can see what the house looks like from the air. There's a lot of uses for drones these days.
In the 90s, there used to be pilots up at Youngstown that they used to take their Cessnas up, hire a photographer, and they'd go over all the companies and take pictures of their properties.
Yeah.
And then after they had all the pictures, they'd get them put and mounted and blown up, and they would sell aerial views of these companies. So they're all used to paying for that. Like, look at my property. They're all proud of it,
Exactly.
So,
every company would want a picture of their factory from the air.
Yep, because it was hard to see it from that perspective. It was cool.
Hey, look, there's Uncle Charlie. He's out behind the thing there smoking a joint. He's smoking a joint. Yeah. But yeah, the whole drone thing, people just
Yep. So there's serial number 11. That's the next one that we're going to watch go up there. This is a live view of it out there on the launching pad. Says no launch today, so it's not going to be today, but it'll be soon, like real soon.
That's nuts. And where they do that? Down in Boca?
Yeah, this is in Texas.
Oh, in Texas. Yep. This is in Florida. They're down in Texas.
The Starship one is all in Boca Chica, Texas. And then all of the Starlink ones we watched up there, are all down in Cape Canaveral.
Oh, okay. Space Coast.
Yep.
I wish I was down at the Space Coast this weekend. That would be pretty good.
We're heading down there for Easter, the Easter week. So if you want to, jump on the bus.
Are you heading down there?
Yes,
I know. I got to do something. I got to get away. And I'm so bummed that I didn't make it down to Daytona for Bike Week. And I see so many people posting all kinds of stuff. And it's just so fun. And then my memories of videos that I posted over the years keep popping up. And now I get like, oh, shit, I should be there.
That's right.
Why am I not at Daytona Bike Week?
I depend on you to expose me to that, my friend.
I know. There's just so much fun stuff. Somebody just posted the coleslaw wrestling at the Cabbage Patch.
Okay.
That's like been a staple of Daytona for many years. You had to go to the Cabbage Patch to watch coleslaw wrestling. Now, that's one thing about Daytona Bike Week. There ain't no cancel culture down there. People don't care who they're offending. It just seems like a lot of people don't even want to go challenge anybody, really.
You think bikers? Why would they want to go up against a group of bikers?
It's like nobody's coming down and going, hey, you're selling a rebel flag down there.
Right.
Hey, that guy has a... Yeah, it's like...
Now, it's not just Daytona. There other cities like Fort Myer and all those tourist areas. Do they do anything with motorcycles?
Not really.
No?
A lot of them have their own, but everybody rides around down there. That's the thing. St. Augustine, I would say St. Augustine to the Cocoa Beach has a lot of stuff going on, but the main thing is right around Daytona, and then you get out and ride. Some of the cool places down there are Boot Hill. Now, Boot Hill is where the women take their bras off and hang them from the rafters.
Okay.
And you just see hundreds and hundreds of bras in the rafters. And, of course, everywhere you go, it's scantily clad ladies and fishnets and strategically placed duct tape.
Right.
You love that. And then they have the wet T-shirt contest, the Dirty Harrys. And that's always... a fun one. That's like one of the highlights of Dirty Harry.
When you go down there, are you stationed at one spot, or do you just roam? Do you go?
Yeah, you just roam around, and you try to get the riding in during the day, especially if you're up here. And it's cold up here, you want to get as much riding in. Yeah. And then at nighttime, you go down and you go to the Iron Horse to see David Allen Coe. That's always a big tradition down there. And then you go down to Dirty Harry's and watch the wet T-shirt contest and Froggies. They got dancing girls down there. And you just go around all those different places and, just ride from here to there. And it's just such a good time. And I'm just bummed that I'm not there this year.
Yeah. On our way down there this time, we're going to stop in Nashville on the way down and back. And we've never really hit any of the music stuff down there while we were there. Have you ever stopped in there? Nashville?
No, I have to go there. Everybody says, man, Nashville's so cool. I'm thinking about going to Nashville. I want to go to Memphis. Everybody says Memphis is really cool too. So I got a lot of places I got to go to.
Got to get to it, man.
I know. I got to get moving. My luck. I'm out of work for a year and I can't do anything. I mean, if I was able to do something this past year, I would have been at all those places.
Yep.
I would have been to Chicago. I would have been to New York. I would have been to Memphis, Key West, Clearwater Beach. You name it, man. I would have been all over the place. But unfortunately, I was down there when they closed Florida and had to leave early 1 year ago, like this week.
Yeah.
1 year ago,
kicked out of Florida.
Right. The 24th is when they shut it all down.
Wow.
Because we did, they really started shutting down the bars on St. Paddy's Day weekend 1 year ago. And I was at Magic Tree. And that was really a bummer because they had, the after parade party, which just draws so many people. And last year on St. Paddy's Day, the weather was fantastic. We had great weather. It was kind of like we had these last couple days. And they didn't have the parade. And they had like 10, 15 bands booked and tents set up and beer trailers. And I just remember us sitting in the back room watching the governor, and all the help was in the back room. And DeWine comes on and says, at 9 o'clock tonight, everything will be shut down indefinitely. Dang. And I still remember what a gut punch that was to the owner, to everybody working there, the servers, the dishwashers, everybody. I mean,
felt that one.
Boy, you just saw tears starting to run down people's cheeks like, oh, what's going on here? And then I had to go pick up my son, drive him home from Florida. So I flew down. And I'll tell you what, I was so nervous, and I'll never forget, there was hardly anybody in Cleveland Airport, and everybody was social distancing, and everybody had their mask on, but it was kind of crazy. It was, I still remember that. And now here we are a year later.
A year freaking later.
It looks like we're finally getting back on track.
Yeah, DeWine said that we're going to be doing festivals and fairs this year, so that'd be nice. The Canfield Fair kicks off, Trumbull County Fair.
Yeah, I got my first shot yesterday. So that went good. Got to go back, I think, April 7th.
Oh, good. Good.
And I'll get my second one. My arm's a little sore. I was actually surprised my arm was sore because it didn't even feel like I got a shot. I mean, it wasn't even like a winch, it was nothing. I didn't, it was just like, okay, you're done. You got your shot. And I was like, oh, that didn't feel like nothing. And then they make you sit around for 15 minutes to make sure you don't have any side effects or whatever. And then I went home and everything was going cool. And then this morning I woke up and my arm was like, oh,
throbbing.
Man. Yeah.
Felt like a okay.
Now, it seems like somebody punched me in the arm real hard.
Okay.
And today I'm not feeling quite right. I'm feeling a little bit out of it. I was even thinking about not showing up today, but I figured, what the heck? I'll come down. And, yeah, I mean, I don't have any like adverse side effects because that's the last thing I want to say is, oh, I didn't feel good. Now, that guy, he didn't feel good or something wrong, but no, I feel okay.
Yeah, it's pretty common. I
got some body aches and pains. I'm going to be like an old guy here today. Yeah, I'm the COVID shot kind of gave me some body aches and pains. And then a couple of weeks ago, I pulled something in my back and then it got better. And then I pulled something again and my back is hurting. I'm just falling apart here. Why am I even talking about this? I feel like somebody's grandfather on here. Yeah, my bursitis is acting up. Do people still have bursitis anymore? Remember, old people used to have bursitis.
I got the gout.
Yeah, the gout and bursitis, and my arthritis is kicking in, and that's what we're really talking about today. That's real interesting and thought-provoking and funny, and yeah, man, my back hurts. I'm not feeling good after my COVID shot.
Here's some Bengay to get over.
Oh, yeah, right. Exactly. Now let's check in, see who we got rocking here. My buddy Hunky Joe Fecco. He says that this show sounds like the Red Green Show episode about the missing duct tape. Yeah, that's about what we got, Joe. Tim O'Hara is watching while waiting in line for his second shot, so he's going with the Seinfeld theme, no corona for you. No corona for you. No. That's a good one. Yeah, Hunky Joe Fecco says, I got to come up to Put-in-Bay on April 17th for the whiskey lighting sign at the Roundhouse. That's always a good one. Pamela Ann Miller, Pammy says, maybe next year I'll get to Daytona. This year I'm waiting on my granddaughter to be born. Boy, there's a lame excuse if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, really.
I can't go to Daytona Bike Week because my granddaughter might be born. Come up with something better than that.
We'll see.
Yeah, really. Yeah, what's up with that? Hey, my buddy Greek checking in too. How you doing, Greek? There's another place. I got to get out to San Diego to see my man Greek, man. He keeps telling me it's so nice out here. I guess they say when you go to San Diego, you just like fall in love with it. So
yeah, July I'm going to head out west and hit some of the California. If they open up, I don't know if they're going to be open up by then or not.
Yeah. Hey, my buddy Glenn checking in. How you doing today, Glenn? Glenn always got something good to say. He's always posting things on Facebook. Stupid criminals in the news, man. A lot of these are in Youngstown here. Police say an angry girlfriend caused disturbances at several Austintown bars last weekend. Police got a call about a disturbance at the Barrelhead Tavern on Mahoning just before 12:30. Reports say a woman stabbed the bar. A woman stabbed the bar?
What? Stabbed the bar.
Okay. According to reports, a woman stabbed the bar because her boyfriend cheated on her. Dispatchers told officers they were on their way. Dispatchers told officers who were on their way that the woman left and went to El Cowboy on South Raccoon, where she wanted to slash the other woman's tires. When police got there, they said the woman was laying on the ground in the parking lot bleeding. 28-year-old told officers that the woman attacked her and tried to get into her car. The woman who was bleeding said the woman came to El Cowboy screaming, yelling, and looking for her boyfriend. The woman said she found him and started attacking him. The woman tried to intervene, and, well, you know what happens when you try to intervene in these domestic disputes. She said she followed the woman out to the parking lot and ran over her with her car. Oh. The woman who police said was intoxicated, believe it or not,
was unsure that she wanted to press charges. Her boyfriend also didn't want to press charges. So they were all like, okay, let's just let this thing go. Let's end it. When officers talked to the woman, she admitted that she had gone to El Cowboy looking for her boyfriend, saying her emotions were all over the place, and she was given a ride from a friend. Almost 2 hours later, there was another disturbance across the street at JR's pub. Police said when they got there, they found the woman bleeding. She claimed her boyfriend ran her over in the parking lot and dragged her to New Road. Witnesses told police that the woman jumped on the hood of the boyfriend's car and started banging on it. He sped off and she rolled off the hood into the pavement. Police say the boyfriend came back to JR's and told officers that she came to El Cowboy earlier, punched him multiple times in the head, scratched his back, and...
This is why I go to bed at 9:30. Stay away from that.
You know what I think it is? I think that people haven't been out for a long time and they forget how to act.
Right.
Because I think I've seen 1 or 2 bar fights here and there since they kind of like open things back up, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, that's out of a movie. When you're pissed, you stab the bar, but then you don't know how to like hold a knife, so you end up bleeding because you don't know how to do it.
The knife breaks or whatever. Oh, there's that story about the modern day Noah's Ark, and they have this all planned out. I think they have the bunker set up and how they're going to do it.
And you know what's crazy is how easy they raise money for doing this kind of stuff. Like you figure like who's going to put up $1 billion for that? But when they say they'll do it, there's a ton of people that jump on board and say, sure, I'll pay $1 billion for a 15-second flight, maybe die, you know, that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Pammy said she has to watch her grandson. Still a lame excuse. Yeah, you're going to have a new granddaughter and you got to watch your grandson, and you don't want to you can't go to Daytona because of that. Boy, that's...
We're not letting you off the hook on that one.
No. Yeah, you got to come up with something better than
Almost
that one.
1 million unique samples that are going to the moon. You never know, too. I always wonder, like, you got so many different countries that don't like one another that are fighting over first to the moon. Like, when you start placing stuff, is there going to be, like, wars on the moon as your samples get destroyed by China because they didn't like you being there? Because there are no defenses up there, right?
Now, here's my question. Are we going to make this, if we send all these DNA samples to store on the moon, now who's going to make sure that we're socially balanced? Okay, are we going to have, make sure that we're racially equal? But then here, would we go on equality by the current population, how it's broken down? Or do we just say, okay, we're sending 1 million samples and we'll do 330,000 of each, you know?
Well, they're all going to be Asians. Asians are always the smartest anyhow, so it's going to be 99% Asian.
Yeah, we want them there to make sure.
That's exactly right. We need this to go well. Yeah. There's 3 white dudes and all Asians.
Hey, sorry, we got to do it. I have a friend that's, Asian, from the Philippines. And she would always get upset. Like, I mean, that like really bothered her. Like, they're always trying to stereotype us as being this intelligent. And I'm like, okay. And the problem with that was, but it kind of bothered her.
Wow, no kidding. I didn't think anybody would be, I think it would be a compliment.
No, I know.
All right. Well, sorry, all the Asian Americans who don't like being stereotyped as smart. I apologize.
Because you are. See, but if you are, it's not a stereotype. That's always been my thing. If you are, it's not a stereotype. If it's true, if it's true and there's no malice and you're just stating a fact or making an observation with no malice, no ill intent, I've always thought that then that's not racist. You're not trying to hurt anybody. You're not trying to make fun of anybody. You're just, stating a fact.
Exactly.
But it seems like in this day and age, just stating a fact now can get you in trouble.
Oh, I'll wait for the cancel email here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we'll get somebody. Listen what they're talking about. Well, if you could decipher what we're talking about, please let me know so I can figure it out.
You'll be the official translator of the show. That could be high dollars.
Exactly. You might have yourself a job. You just start Oh man, my back got me on that one. Oh, jeez.
I won't make you laugh. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah. Hey, neither will I. So don't worry about it. We're even.
We got dad jokes though.
Yeah. Here's something that's crazy. Did you see this? This is a company that makes special urns
and when the light hits it the right way, it'll put a shadow of the profile of the person in it on the wall.
That's creepy.
Now, a lot of people are freaked out by this, but there it is. They somehow, hewn the wood, and they'll make it the silhouette of the profile of your loved one to appear on the wall when the light hits it the right way.
What's your feelings on this? Is that...
I was surprised. I'll tell you what my feelings are on that. I was surprised how many people said, absolutely not, never. It's too creepy. It's too messed up. I would never have that in my house. I didn't really care about it either way.
Well, I know the old school, they used to take those silhouettes, and those used to be everywhere. You'd create the profile for all of those.
Yeah.
It's just a modern version of that.
Yeah, that was a big thing. Even when we were like first, second grade, they would put the projector up, and they would have a black piece of construction paper, and the teacher would trace it with a piece of white chalk and trace your silhouette, and then they would cut it out, and you'd take it home for Mother's Day or Father's Day.
That was called something. I forget what they called that thing. But
remember that back in school when every Mother's Day, every Father's Day, you would make something. Every Christmas, you would make these little gifts for your family.
Yeah, like ashtrays, in a million ashtrays that you made out of putty or whatever.
Yeah. I remember one year we were doing pot holders, and we had the old potato bags, and we would get yarn and weave the yarn in and out, and we'd make a pot holder and just all kind of crazy stuff like that.
Yeah, I wonder what they probably let kids buy things from the store instead of making it now.
Instead of making it, they have the world's greatest mom pendant and all that stuff, so they get you for money. No, it's not the same. And then there are some people too that say, well, we can't do that because what about people that don't have parents and it hurts their feelings? I don't know.
Craziness.
I don't want to go down that road. I don't know going. That's not what this show's about. Today, this show is like Seinfeld. Today's show is about nothing and stupid criminals. Oh boy, here we go. Another one at the Shell station on Market Street.
Okay.
That's always in the news. There's always something going on at the Shell station in the hood on Market Street. Always something going on there. And my philosophy or my theory is the reason they call it Shell is because you have to have a pocket full of them before you go in the place, or there's a million of them laying in the parking lot, one or the other. Anyways, cops see this dude. He's running down the street, and they thought he was stealing something, so they go to talk to him. And he said that he was going to the store to buy cigar wraps and some birth control because his girlfriend was up at the Town and Country Motel. Did you ever see that one? The Town and Country Motel? Never. That's a good one.
It's if we
ever once again do the seedy motels of the past in the Youngstown area. Yeah, that place.
I know the wagon wheel the Boardman.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. The May Motel back in the day out there on 18. Well, they still call it 18 out Mahoning Avenue out in North Jackson. You're an old fart from Youngstown or Austintown when you call Mahoning Avenue 18. Yeah, they have that. That's out there on 18. 18. What do you mean? Yeah, Mahoning Avenue. Oh, okay. Oh. Yeah, Mahoning. That road that runs out there by Meander heading out to Lake Milton. Oh, okay. Yeah, you mean Mahoning Avenue.
Yeah, they're putting another Shell up here on South Avenue. So, I mean, they need another one to add to their collection of news stories creators.
It might take that. So anyways, they thought this guy this guy said he was running because he bought some condoms and some cigar wraps and had to get back to his lady. Cops said the man smelled like marijuana. They said he found several bags of weed on him, some drugs and some other pills, a little bit of cash. Police said that he didn't have either of the items that he went to the store for. Well, it's a typical guy, though. The wife sends you to the store for bread and milk, and you forget.
Yep, that's right.
It's like, oh, is that what I was supposed to get? At the motel, officers came in contact with a 19-year-old woman who answered the door in her underwear. Police told her to get dressed. And when she walked into the bathroom, police noticed she was trying to hide a gun between her legs. And then it got more bizarre after that. Police say Howard became limp. Now, talking about this story, I'm not really sure what this means.
Which version,
right. Refused to speak and didn't answer officers when they asked if he was okay. He was taken to the hospital, and they let him go, and they put him back in jail. Then he refused to wear a mask in the holding area. Then he started threatening the police and their families and everything. So he is... sitting in jail. Some of these things, these people just take it to the next level. They probably could have ended it a lot sooner. Or so is the mindset like, okay, they got me now, I might as well just keep going.
Yeah,
okay.
and just
I'm going to jail anyways, so I might as well feel better about myself.
But you see the root cause, though. See what women make us do?
Exactly.
100% of the time.
Right. They want to roll a blunt and have a little fun there.
It.
And that's all. And
end up in the clink.
And now the guy's headed to the penitentiary.
Now, they mentioned the smell of marijuana. Didn't they decriminalize that in Ohio where that's not really a thing anymore?
Yeah, I don't think it is.
Okay.
I don't think it is. I think it's just they give you a ticket.
Right.
Okay, but then this guy probably just pushed it past the, where he could have probably just got a ticket and been left off the hook. But,
yeah.
Okay, let's see. Rock news today. On this date, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young released their second album called Deja Vu. Deja Vu? Okay, I can't even talk. Deja Vu. And that one had the song Woodstock, great song. Teach Your Children Well, another one. Our House. Deja Vu was greatly anticipated after their first album, and then they added Neil Young into the mix, and this just took them through the roof. And then after that album, Stephen Stills came out with an album. Neil Young had After the Gold Rush, I think, and Graham Nash had an album out, so that really got those guys rolling. But the interesting thing about that album is there was a guy named Greg Reeves. Greg Reeves was from Warren, Ohio, and he had this interesting story with Greg Reeves. And if you remember, before I get into the whole story about him, Greg Reeves was from Warren. And remember when Steve Aker was here?
Yeah.
And he was talking about he woke up one morning and said, I got to talk to Greg Reeves. And I guess, I don't know if he wanted to do an article about him or whatever. And he couldn't find Greg Reeves. He couldn't find Greg Reeves. And he woke up one morning, and I hope I'm remembering this right, or I didn't dream it or whatever. And he was saying, I got to find Greg Reeves from that album because he's from Warren. And I think he knew him. And he says, I got to find him. And then he just woke up that morning and said, I'm going to the Eastwood Mall to see if I could find Greg Reeves. He goes to the Eastwood Mall.
No
and
way.
Greg Reeves is there.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Unless I dreamt that. I could have swore he told me that.
Oh, somebody fact check us. We got to find out if that's true, because that's amazing.
I tried to look it up. I should probably just call him and ask him, but I thought he said that right on this show.
That is cool.
That he woke up and he was thinking about Greg Reeves. And he wanted to talk to Greg Reeves, and he couldn't find the guy. And he just said, I think I'm going to go to the Eastwood Mall. I bet he's there. And he went there, and, unless he was tripping or something. I don't know. I'm not really sure on that one. But Greg Reeves was an interesting character, man. I mean, he worked with Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, and he was from Warren. And I guess Rick James, I'm Rick James, bitch. Rick James took him under his wing somehow, and he became involved with Rick James. And they said he did some work at Motown too, but it was kind of sketchy. All the stuff that they have about Greg Reeves is a little sketchy. But he finally got booted out of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young because I guess Stephen Stills said he was freaking him out. He thought he was some kind of like Indian shaman or something.
Really?
And so he was a little worried about it. But Neil Young kept working with him. And I guess he first started playing in clubs when he first started playing in clubs with a fake ID from Rick James. And somebody said he was on a couple of Temptation records playing bass, but then there was other stories that he wasn't playing bass, he was playing tambourine, and his mother wouldn't let him go to Motown because she wanted him to finish high school. And it's a crazy story. It's a crazy story. And at one time he got arrested for weed. He was trying to smuggle weed across the border, and he wound up in a jail cell with the Mexican president's nephew. And he was a political prisoner, and Neil Young supposedly sent him money to pay off the police to get him out of jail.
No kidding.
Yeah. I'd love to find this guy. I don't know what he's up to now. I'm not even sure if he's still alive. I don't know. And then another time, see, after Steven Stills and the rest of the guys like disowned him because he was getting a little weird. So he still was recording and doing some work with Neil Young. And I guess Neil Young, they were doing the After the Gold Rush album, and Greg Reeves comes in and he's covered from head to toe with gold paint. And nobody even like kind of blinked an eye. And Neil Young just said it was, it's just Greg doing his Indian thing. And they went on and recorded their tracks, and away he went.
Well, I had this dream that he's at Hooters tonight. I think we need to go to Hooters and he will be there.
Maybe. But yeah, interesting character. Greg Reeves. Look him up. At least on Wikipedia, you can read the whole story about him. But another guy from Warren, Ohio, that had an interesting career in the music business. I'm not sure what he's doing. You know why? Because after I read all the history, I just said, okay, that's all I need to know. I'll go meet him at the mall tonight. That's all.
Exactly.
Well, you said Hooters. Okay, yep. I like Hooters better.
Yeah, we'll go to Hooters.
All right, and we'll start with the first one in Bexley, West Virginia, and we'll continue south to every Hooters until we get to Key West.
You got to eat.
Until we find him.
Yes, right.
Until we find him.
A summer-long pursuit.
We're on a mission to find Greg Reeves.
Through Hooters. Like everybody's connected to Hooters some way, and we're going to find him that way.
That's probably where he's at.
Yep, no doubt.
I like the vibe you're picking up on that. Yeah, I was going to call Ace today and say, hey, what the heck was that story with you and Greg Reeves at the Eastwood Mall? Because I'm not, I don't think I imagined that. I thought he was sitting right there where you're sitting, and he went through that whole story, which I thought was pretty interesting. Wow, 51 years ago today, the Beatles released the song Let It Be. 51 years ago. And that song still sounds great. And that's one of those moments, I could remember that one as clear as day. When they came out, they had clips from the Let It Be movie, which they're remaking this year. And I think in October, they're going to release it. What happened was the Let It Be album and the movie kind of focused on the Beatles breaking up. And it was the last album they were going to record. And they break up. And the movie was kind of dark and just kind of focused on all the negativity. Well, now somebody found like 16 reels of footage of them having fun and just having a blast and having a good time. It wasn't all like this gloom and doom and the way that the Let It Be movie painted it out to be. So coming up in October, they're having a new album, a new record, or new movie coming out that's going to focus on like the good times and them having fun and not like this, like you're watching the breakup of the Beatles.
Well, and they do that a lot, like the Doors movie and the Queen movie. It's always like the darker side of the band and what they did. It's strange, yeah.
And I've seen a couple of clips of them like just sitting around jamming or hanging out and, lighter moments.
Right.
And it looked like it was more fun. It was like, boy, these guys were having some fun. It wasn't all this gloom and doom. No, they weren't getting along and there was some problems. And
I think every band's like that, though, honestly.
And then the thing with the Beatles, though, is once they recorded that Let It Be album, they put it on the shelf and they said, you know what? We're not going to go out on that one. And that's when they turned around and did Abbey Road, which is probably their best album. And I think you would be hard pressed to find any band whose last album was their best album. It's just not done. You could go through every album and say, oh, that's not really their best. But I mean, they just took it to the next level. And then they released that, and then they released, or did they, I forget what order they did it, but they recorded Abbey Road after Let It Be.
Right.
But I think they recorded it first, released it first. So that was really cool. But getting back to the story, I can still remember the first time I saw some clips on that was on the Glenn Campbell Good Time Hour. And they were showing some clips from that movie, and that really blew me away. I know, like, I was young when 1964 when they made the big splash, and like a lot of the older kids were, really hit them. But boy, I just how cool they looked with the hair and the beards, and and Billy Preston there with the big afro, and boy, that really was like I thought that was one of the coolest things I ever seen. I can remember watching that. I'm going, damn, these guys just get cooler and cooler as they go on. And the music was so good. And they did the, George Harrison with the guitar solo on it. And then after that, then they released like the rooftop concert. And I think they might have did 2 clips of that night. I think they did Let It Be in the studio. And then I think they did Get Back from the rooftop concert. And boy, I saw that rooftop concert and I was just like, man, this is just so freaking cool. I can still remember, and it's still cool. It's, 51 years later, it's still cool. You could watch it and you look at it and you go, damn, because it was just the Beatles being the Beatles. It was just them hanging out, playing music, nothing to it. And it was just like, man, alive. But anyway, man, hard to believe 51 years ago.
Yep.
That's just amazing.
And that's what I love sometimes about live music is that you'll have a band just go into a jam session and play like stuff you'd never hear them put in a studio.
Oh yeah, but that was fantastic, and I can't wait to see the remix of that movie coming out. Let's see, where are we going to go from here? We'll stick on music. Tom Jones had the #1 song back on this date in 1965. It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. There's a guy that is just a phenomenal talent. Tom Jones, the guy, I saw him on whatever that show he's on now. I mean, he's like 80 years old. He still looks good. If I look like that, well, there's no way I'm going to look like that when I'm 80 years old. But the guy still looks good. He's got that little goatee and, he's in good shape. And he started singing a song on that show. And I was like, damn, this guy could still sing. He was just belting these songs out. And if you really want to do something to see how good of a singer Tom Jones is, if you just start looking up some of his old videos from like his TV shows and whatever, he could sing with anybody. They have him singing with all the soul people like Otis Redding and people like that. They have him singing with Janis Joplin. And I mean, they're belting out with each other note to note. He did another one with Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young too. You would think Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young and Tom Jones, that's a mismatch. But Tom Jones was right in there. And I mean, he took those songs to the next level. Let's see. Wilson Pickett, who else? Otis Redding. He would sing with all those guys, and his voice was so strong and is still so strong. He's just an amazing talent. And speaking of Otis Redding, on this date in 1968, Otis Redding, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay came out. And it was 3 months after he was killed in a plane crash. Now, there was a guy, that's a sad story there, because Otis Redding was just hitting his stride, man. Otis Redding was just coming up, and it was like, this guy is on his way. This guy is going places. And then plane crash ended his career. And Sitting on the Dock of the Bay was the first song to become a #1 hit after the artist had passed away. That was the first song, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. 3 months after he passed away, that one came out, and still a classic, an American standard, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. Yeah, we mentioned Crosby, Stills, and Nash with Deja Vu. And then on this date in 1972, 2 years later, another masterpiece album was released, Neil Young's Harvest album. And boy, what an album that is, too. Neil Young Harvest. And that has Heart of Gold, An Old Man, The Needle and the Damage Done. That was one of those albums that you just got, and every song on there is just like, wow. That was like really Neil Young at his best. Although I think he's still at his best. I love Neil Young, man. I've seen him several times in concert, and it's always been a great show. Although with Neil, sometimes you don't know what you're going to get, because he might just change his whole outlook on music. Or you might go to a Neil Young show, and he hasn't done that lately, but I've been to a couple where it was like, okay, what's he playing? What's he playing?
Neil Young's Polka Night.
Yeah, right. But, if you're a true fan, you'd watch it. So, but,
Keith Sturgeon says, hey, dude, he's checking in. We got Arliss Walker.
Hey, Arliss. Yeah. How you doing, Arliss?
And Sarah's out there.
Sarah, what's happening?
Diana from Misery, Ohio.
Hey, Diana, how you doing? Or Misery, Ohio, as some people like to call it. Misery, Ohio. Right there, tucked in between Brookfield and Sharon. It's the heart of it all. It's at the heart of it all. Major Ohio.
Two big cities, metropolises.
That's the big three right there. The Tri-City, Tri-City area.
Yep.
Brookfield, Masury, and Sharon, Pennsylvania.
Yepers.
What else did I have here today? I just, I had a bunch of different things that I was just looking at today. Oh, I saw somebody posted about the Money movie. Are you old enough to remember the Money movie?
No.
Okay, on Channel 27 after school, they used to have the Money movie. And Rich Morgan was the host for a while, and I think Wiley Meyer was the host for a while, and they were the DJs on 570 when they played music at the time. And then they probably went over to what is now Mix 98.9. And, Wiley Meyer was doing country music on 570 at night. They were like talk during the day and then music at night.
Had no idea.
And anyway, so they would have the Money movie. And somebody said whenever the Money movie was on, our mom wouldn't let us talk on the phone because she was so sure that Rich Morgan was going to call them. And you had to know the jackpot. And they would call and you'd say, oh, okay. You'd give them money if you were watching. Most of the time, nobody was watching. But everybody watched the show. But when they call you, it's one of those things you're not watching that day. And they would always say, hey, would you like to take a guess? And the people, I don't know. $268.45. And go, oh, sorry about that, but we'll send you out a McDonald's gift card or whatever. Hold on the line. We'll send you out a order of fries from McDonald's. Well, what we used to do, we would be over at Wilson High School and we'd be like down in the gym or football practice or whatever, and we'd all be hanging around there. And they had a phone in the athletic office that they had out so people could call their, parents. Nobody had a cell phone. So the phone would be sitting there. And this way you can call your parents, say, hey, come on, I need a ride and come and pick me up. Well, we always knew that right around Money movie time, it was like at 4:00, I think. And so we're all down there and we would always just dial a random number and we would get on the phone and we would go, hi, this is Rich Morgan from the Money movie. If you could tell us how much is in our jackpot today, you'll win that amount. And the people go, oh, I don't have it on today. Oh, darn it. I watch it every day. And they would go through their whole spiel. And then I'd say, well, listen, why don't you take a guess and see what you could do? And they go, $563.98. I go, what? Could you repeat that? Yeah, $598.63. Joe, unbelievable. Whoa. You just won $568.93. Guys going crazy. The people would go nuts. And then they'd say, well, congratulations. Hold on the line and we'll get all your information.
Click.
And then we'd say, we'd just say, hey, come up to the TV station, bring your ID, come up to the TV station.
Oh, you guys are
and
so
claim
cruel.
your prize. Yeah, that's what I think of as soon as I saw somebody posted about the Money movie. And then remember Channel 33 Powell with Mary Jo Maluso?
No.
They used to play, I think she was on like kind of, they had Barney Bean on and he was like a goofy guy, and he had Sherwood the City Slicker. He was a ventriloquist, and he had a goofy hat with a big safety pin in it. And Barney Bean would do this thing where he would, if it was your birthday, he would get your initials, and then he would draw it into a cartoon, a caricature from your initials, and you would everybody be looking at him, what's he doing? It was a big thing. I always wanted one of those growing up. I think that's one of the things from my childhood in Youngstown. I never had a birthday picture drawn by Barney Bean. And I never had Miss Ann mention my name on Romper Room at the end, looking in the magic mirror. Right. So children's TV in Youngstown has been one disappointment after another. That's right,
and no Jerry Springer.
Three things that I wanted most out of TV is to be on Jerry Springer, have Miss Ann on Romper Room, look in the mirror and see me.
So if you ever want to give Freddie a gift for his birthday, those are the three things. If you can round those up, you will make his lifetime.
Yeah, and Barney Bean with the initials. That was always like the thing. Oh shit, man! I want Barney Bean. I want him to draw me these initials. But anyways, Oh, 33 POW. There we go. Bing. I knew I'd get back to it here at some point. Mary Jo Maluso used to be the host of 33 POW. And it was kind of like this early high-tech video game to watch on TV. So they would call you up on the phone. You'd send in, your name and address and phone number on a postcard. And if they called you, they would call you up, and then you would be on the phone, and it was kind of like little airplanes flying by. And whenever you would yell "pow," it would shoot the missiles at the rocket or whatever, and and it had like the sight with the crosshairs in it, and and the airplanes would be flying by, and you'd just be yelling "pow, pow, 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 pow," and if you got 15, shoot down 15 planes or whatever, you got a prize. And that was a big thing. 33 POW. And then they would play cartoons after that. And I think she might have been on with Barney Bean there for a while, but maybe not.
But and you just never got your chance.
No, never got on 33 POW. Never had my initials drawn into a cartoon from Barney Bean. Never got on Jerry Springer with a midget.
Nope. Just one disappointment after another.
TV's just not my thing. Well, I kind of got this kind of like a little TV show here.
Keith Sturgeon says, OMG, POW. We saw Mary Jo out one night, and we're all jacked up, and we started yelling POW at her and got kicked out.
Oh, I can imagine. That poor woman probably got hassled so much about 33 POW. POW! 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 That's like,
got old after a while.
That's like when I saw Suzanne Summers. I ran into her at this bar in Tampa. And, of course, I had to ask her how things were going at the Regal Beagle. And then, of course, I think, hey, how's Jack doing? How's Mr. Furley? Hey, tell everybody down at the Regal Beagle I said hi. And
real clever, dude.
Yeah, dick. Okay, move on. I think at that point, their bouncer grabbed me by the shirt and pulled me away or something.
Little problem, man.
Okay, weirdo, get away. Yeah, we've never heard that one before. Yeah,
right.
Hey, look at it. It stopped raining here.
Sun came back out. That was nice.
Not bad. Well, springtime's coming, but we still have a couple more of those winter days yet. You get all excited at this point in time, and
a little fake spring.
Yeah. The guy that invented the cassette tape passed away. That was pretty interesting. He back in the day, you had either reel-to-reels, you had all these big bulky tapes, and if you wanted something a little smaller, he invented the cassette, which came in really handy. And I think one of the interesting things that came from the cassette was actually the forerunner to the Spotify playlist. Now you don't need the cassette anymore, but back in the day, you would have your cassette player, and you would make mixtapes. And if you had a girlfriend or a boyfriend and they broke up with you, and you would send them a mixtape with all these songs, try to win them back. Or if they really liked you, they would send you a mixtape with these things on.
I could just picture there's a Memorex.
Oh, yeah. I guess that they're kind of coming back right now. Somebody said that there's in some places, I think rappers are using them, and there's still some bands and things that are just using them as a good promotional gimmick, instead of having a CD or whatever.
If someone handed you one, could you play it on anything that you own right now? You have a cassette player.
Several cassette players.
No kidding. All right.
Yeah. I have two really good ones that need a little work though. Two really good ones that are broke. As a matter of fact, I won a badass cassette player one time from WMMS. I was like caller number 20 on the weekend, and I won a shirt from that John Belushi movie. What was it, 1942, when he was a fighter pilot? I won a shirt from that, and I won this great rack mount. I wouldn't be surprised they used it at the WMMS studio. That's how good this thing was. But over the years, a couple knobs got broken off, and the door doesn't line up right. But boy, I tell you, that thing was badass. And then back in the day, for going out and doing interviews, I had this Marantz top of the line portable news cassette player.
Yeah.
And I felt like Joe Biden there for a minute.
That thing over there that does the thing. But that was used to be a fixture in the living room, having a rack system that played, cassettes and CDs and records.
Yeah, you still had the turntable that would pull out, and then you would have all this stuff in there.
It thumped, man. There were some systems that were just...
Now here's what we got.
Yep,
just a cell phone. Everything is in there. There's your cassette player right there. Right. There's your mixtape maker right there. And we've always talked about this too, back in the days of the Wizard. Hey, we haven't mentioned that today.
What?
Yeah, the Wizard.
Oh, there you go.
One of the things that we always have to mention on every show. But back in the days of the Wizard, they would do like midnight album sides, and at the end of the year, they would play back the top 20 albums of the year in its entirety. So you'd sit there with that little GE cassette player and have it sitting next to your radio,
right?
And you would record the whole thing, and you would stock up on these cheap ass little there was a big difference in cassette tape too, and it really got to like the metal tape all the way down to what you would get at the drugstore, 3 for 99 cents or whatever. And boy, you would be there all weekend and just record that, or midnight, I gotta stay up, man. I hope my mom don't hear me. I gotta stay up and I gotta record Deep Purple, Smoke on the Water tonight. And that was your like collection. And now you think about probably how bad some of those tapes sound,
right,
from just having a cassette player in front of a speaker. That was like, ooh, but that was a big thing.
So now let me ask you a couple other things.
Okay.
Do you have a phone that plugs into the wall?
I do, but you know what? It was costing me a little too much money, but I'm a believer of the landline.
Okay.
My bills, I was trying to cut back on expenses, but I'm a firm believer in the landline, because what happens if something big goes down and you got to reach somebody? Well, everybody said, everybody will have phones and they won't be able to charge them anyway. So what do you care? Well, if I want to call the police, if I want to call the fire department, they still have a landline. Hey, I'm stuck here. My house collapsed. Or, hey, there's a band of people outside wanting to burn my house down. Or, I always thought that, you should. I was always a fan of the landline, but then it got to be so expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was $30-$40 a month. Could that be, or am I imagining that?
Oh, yeah, it could be.
It was something so expensive. It was like, well, why would I keep this right now? Well, for my safety, but, I'm just going to have to play it by ear. When that big typhoon mysteriously hits, or when something bad, really bad, hits the fan and all the power's out,
neighborhood,
right? And I would have had that landline, and hey, send the police to, over here right away, whatever. Now it's like I'm screwed.
All right, an answering machine, a standalone answering machine.
You know what? I never had an answering machine ever.
Really?
Never had an answering machine.
A console record player?
No. Never had a console record player.
Okay.
I always used to have those little GE portables where you take the top off, or some of the turntable would fold down and had 2 little speakers on the side. I do remember my first hi-fi system. I bought one at Sears, and I think it was $100 at the time. And it might have been a Panasonic, and it had AM, FM, and it had a turntable, and I think that's all it had on there. And 2 speakers, and the speakers looked like they had 2 cones in it, but it was a cone and what they call it, a reverberator, which just it just vibrated from the rest of the sound, but it looked like it was badass because you had 2 speakers.
Right.
And so that was my first sound, real one. I mean, it's not like they were selling it Custom Sounds or any of those places, Audio Warehouse. And, you would go into those places and they had like tuners for like $1,000.
Right.
And they would take you into this room where they had these turntables where everything, where you're looking at rumble and, there'd be the big argument, what's better, direct drive or belt drive? And, you'd have the strobe light on there to make sure everything was just right. And you would adjust the pressure on the needle to make sure that it was just right. And then if you really were an audiophile nut, then you'd get that special vinyl, the heavy duty vinyl. And you would sit in there and they would take you in that room, and then they would go through all the specs on like the receiver and on the tuner. And you're just sitting there going,
I'm just going to crank it until the speakers break anyway. So it really makes no difference to me. And nowadays, we don't even have that. Nowadays, everybody's happy with a Bluetooth or maybe Beats. Maybe Beats are getting people to come back to actually listening to some music. But once again, when you're listening, digitally, you're not really getting the full thing. But my thing is that like an expensive tequila? Do most people even realize that or care?
Not anymore.
Do they just listen to it and what it sounds like? It's what it sounds like, and that's it. But yeah, I could remember, man, audio warehouse, custom sounds, those were all just big places. And now if you get some of that old hi-fi equipment, boy, it's worth some big money.
Is it really?
Oh, them stereo components like those old Marantz things. And I can't even think of all the names right now. Harman Kardon and all these like top of the line. Oh, I was at, Johnny Versace's store in New York City, which is like this high-end boutique. And what's kind of sad about that, it used to be the CBGB. And I'm sure every punk rocker that ever set foot inside the CBGB is still turning in their grave at the Johnny Versace store.
Right.
And I mean, the clothes in there, probably like me, if I probably wanted to buy something in there, like other than a book or whatever, probably the cheapest thing you're going to find is maybe a necktie for $100-150.
Okay.
And they have all these like crazy, and some of it's new, some of it's secondhand. But I mean, if you're a rock star, I mean, that's where you want to go with the scarves and just like crazy handmade boots and a lot of cool stuff in there. If I had the money, I'd go in there but they had a room with some of that vintage sound gear in there. And I'll tell you what, it was not cheap.
Yep.
And people were paying for it.
Right.
People were paying for it.
All right, next thing.
Okay, next thing.
Police scanner.
Oh,
you have a police scanner.
You must be monitoring my house. Me and my brother yesterday were just talking about the police scanner. My dad was the biggest police scanner guy in the world. My dad would know every single thing. My dad was glued to the police scanner. And that's why I got worried because, boy, if the cops picked me up, I'd get busted because they run my license plate or whatever, and what are you going to do? But it's so funny. We were just talking about this because my dad absolutely loved listening to the police scanner. I do too. I was a big police scanner guy.
24 hours a day. It's just on.
Yeah.
It's the white noise in the bedroom,
It's always something going on. But my dad, I'd come home, after partying all night or whatever, midnight, 1 o'clock, and he'd still be sitting there and, and he liked Saturday Night Live. I never watched Saturday Night Live because I was always out, and he would be watching Saturday Night Live and the police scanner. And I'd come home and give me a rundown on Saturday Night Live.
And what's going on?
And he was, they sent 204 and 206 up there to Shirley Road. There was something going on up there. And then he would describe the people that they were looking for. And my dad was a huge police scanner guy. And I think that's how I got into it. Well, also, when I studied journalism too, that's like the tools of the trade, the police scanner, when a fire alarm goes off or whatever, if you were in the newsroom, you're all right. Oh shit, here comes something's happening. Something big's going on. But you know what got me out of the police scanner? And it's one thing, and I'm still pissed about it. When Youngstown police went to the special digital broadcasting, that you can't pick them up on a police scanner.
Really?
You have to have a special digital for that system. Yeah. So, and then after that, because the Youngstown police scanner, there was always something going on. Loads of
criminals got wise that all they had to do was take it around and knew where the cops were.
Well, that's what they said. But is it really? Do they have any proof about that? Could you show me some statistics that say that this is what's going on? Can you say, all right, we had a big call and we had 6 police cars on the east side, and then there was 14 crimes on the south side while those guys were there.
Right.
I would like to see some statistics about that instead of, okay, are you just doing that so we don't know what you're really up to?
Right.
So that's one of the things that I always, I was a little skeptical about that when they changed over, but it was a bummer. That's when I hung up the police scanner because all the action was in Youngstown. You know, I'd have Niles on, I'd have Warren on, but it just seemed like Youngstown was where it was happening. You know, all the good stuff, you know, if a murder come on there or a shooting or a robbery and, you know, who they're looking for and everything else. Now, see, me personally, I thought it was good that people could listen to that because my thought would be, okay, if something's going on in my neighborhood and I hear it on the scanner and I look out the window and I see somebody running through my backyard, I you know, hey, that guy you're looking for, he's in the backyard right here. And I always thought, you know, and I've always heard more stuff on, you know, you'd hear that a lot if you were a diehard police scanner radio listener because somebody's in their neighborhood and they got it on. And of course, they're peeking out the window to begin with. Hey, and then the next thing you know, hey, there he goes, man. That guy you're looking for, that car just went down my street. And actually, I think helped them out. But then they said they were giving out too much personal information for people to steal your identity, which once again, were they, or, you know, just show me some numbers. Show me 15 people that had their identity stolen
from what came over
from what came over the police radio. Yeah. Probably the people they're talking about on the police radio are not people's identities you probably want to steal anyways.
That's right.
You know?
Their credit's a bust, dude. All right.
Yeah. And you probably have a police record.
Right.
So, you know.
Yeah, don't do that.
But yeah, that was my big bummer, man. With that's my beef with the YPD, with the man. They cut the scanner out, man. But I used to love listening to the scanner, but my old man, he was the king of the scanner, man. He was better than Channel 21 or whatever. He knew every single thing that was going on in Youngstown from morning till night.
All right, I got one more for you. Okay. It's two, but I'm going to do them both at once.
All right.
TV Guide or Reader's Digest?
Reader's Digest.
For real? You still get to your Reader's Digest?
Yes, I do.
All right.
But you know what? I never got TV Guide, and I'll tell you why. It's because I said before, for where we lived on Powersdale, you know, right by Poland Avenue, we were at the bottom of the hill. And so the TV signals went over top of us. It's called a shadow, a signal shadow, and because the you know you draw like a triangle from the top of the tower down, and if you're in that shadow where it doesn't go, you got to hope you're close to it that you could at least pick up something. But you know, we lived on Poland Avenue and we couldn't get in Channel 33, which was on top of the hill, until they kicked up their power and got a new antenna. Same with Channel 27. We had a hard time getting Channel 27, and then when they built that new big tower, then they kicked up their watts, then we were able to get it. But yeah, we never really had a need for TV Guide. We'd get everything we know right there in the Vindicator, right in the TV listing.
Yep.
Okay, what else?
Reader's Digest was you know, it was the preferred bathroom material before you had cell phones. Now I figured they'd go away because you're reading the jokes, what was it, Excuse My Dust or something like that. That was my favorite.
Right. No, you know what? And also, Reader's Digest, for being on the air, that always gave you something to talk about. I was always looking forward to the Reader's Digest because there was always a good joke in there you could steal. There was always something, a crazy story. And to me, yeah, Reader's Digest, when I first started on the air, that was like one of my go-to publications for interesting material, because there'd always be a joke or whatever.
All right.
So that's
all I got. I needed to hit you with those ones.
Okay. Well, that's it. Now you know why I didn't get a TV Guide, because we couldn't get any TV channels till we finally, you know, I think we got an antenna there for a while, but we were mostly, if you couldn't get it on a bullseye and rabbit ears and moving the TV around.
Yeah, I think we were the last people in our neighborhood to get cable television, so we were right there with you. There was nothing to watch.
Oh, man. Yeah, let's see. We talked about Let It Be. We talked about Neil Young Harvest. We talked about Crosby, Stills, and Nash, Deja Vu. We talked about the woman with her gun between her legs, and the whole thing started at the Shell station on Market Street. Go figure. All right. We talked about the... You got to read this article on NPR, though, about the guy that invented the cassette tape, because I know you're the inventor type, and like how he used to walk around with a little block of wood in his pocket until he found one that was the right size that he felt comfortable with to make the tape that size. And I guess he started out, he built a radio for his family when he was a kid during World War II. I think he was from, where the heck was he from? Anyways, he built this radio, and he also built a directional antenna so he could get these stations that the Nazis weren't blocking out so they could hear the real news.
Wow.
And then, he went on from there. And, you know how many cassette tapes were sold over the time, when cassettes were big from the time you invented it? Take a guess.
Oh man, it's got to be in the billions, right?
100 billion.
Wow. 100
billion cassette tapes sold.
Wow, that's amazing.
And everybody still knows how to use a pencil to get them back. Yeah, I'll tell you though, to me, cassettes were the worst though. Cassettes were just a pain, if you ask me. They were nice, well, we would use them in the radio business, like if, you had a commercial and you wanted to play. It's not like nowadays you download it on your phone and shoot it off to them
as an MP3 or something.
Right.
Yeah,
you would, back in the day. Well, first it started that you would have to. Well, you would have a cassette, and then they would have to actually go to the client and play it for them. And then they would play it, and then, oh, the guy got the address wrong, or I don't like that music, or, oh, you know what? I wanted to mention that if you shop here on my brother's birthday, you get 30% off, or whatever. They would have just something ridiculous, or it would be a 30-second commercial, and they would want you to put in like the Constitution,
Right.
Look, you got 30 seconds, you got 150 words, you got to make it work.
Right. And you used to splice them, you used to cut and, right.
But that's what, we would use the cassettes for. And then if people were looking for jobs, they would put an air check on that. And it was easier if you had a lot of different things that you wanted to save. It would save room. It would definitely save room. But that was how that would go. And then they would bring back the cassette and say, hey, they want this to say, it's like, and then you get pissed because you have to do it over.
Now life is so much easier.
But, it was my attitude really changed about that, but you sometimes you would do this commercial, you would write it, it would be perfect. The read was exactly right. The music fit the commercial perfectly, and then they wouldn't like it. Hey, we got to change this. Some days you just be like, man, I just did that commercial. In one way you didn't want to do it over, but then if you look at it the other way, it's like, okay, what difference is if I do a different commercial every day, or if I do the same one every day? I got, I got to be there for a set amount of time, and I got to do so much work. So does it really matter if? But there's just that psychological thing, like, man, I put a lot of work into that, and it should be done.
With it. It was beautiful,
and it should be done, and maybe. And maybe if nobody turned in a commercial today, I could slack off. I could leave. I could go.
All right, I do have one more for you.
Okay.
All right, the projector, like the home movie projector with the screen.
Yeah, we had one. We did.
Okay.
8 millimeter.
Yeah, right.
And that's when then other people started using that for other things, just like with any technology, they'll take it right to the gutter.
That's right. Before long, we'll figure out how to do that with it.
Yeah. If you invent a camera, if you invent film, if you invent a movie camera, you invent a camera on the phone, no matter what you do, one of the first things you're going to film, we all know what that is. But we used to have one, but we didn't really have a lot of movies or anything. I still think I have a couple of different size video recorders laying around. I think I might have one, everything from, Betamax to obsolete, whatever. Boy, you don't see those around much anymore, do you?
Betamax, no.
Betamax, or even the regular ones. You just don't see them anymore.
Yeah, everybody would have a drawer for like the old movies, and then the picture drawer that had like generations worth of still pictures.
Oh yeah, you know what though? That's one thing that I wanted to work on is was getting all my pictures printed up, because there's just something about a printed picture. We all take it for granted now We all take it for granted now that we got these pictures in our phone. And I can't tell you how many pictures I have lost over the years. And what are you going to do when you get older, Okay, you can look through it at your phone, but maybe your grandkids want to look at that. I mean, I'm like a big fan of looking at old pictures of the family and just having fun with that. So that's what I think that's going to be my next project, is just, even if I do 50 a week, if I do 50 a week at Walgreens and put together a photo album, because I really miss that.
Yeah, half the good ones you're going to forget and lose and disorganize, and then you're screwed. Even with phones, I mean, you get tens of thousands of them on here now.
I probably got 6,000 pictures on my phone, and then probably another 6,000 pictures in my Facebook account. And I've been looking at those the other day, and I got to get on the ball here.
Here's something cool. This is a tech thing. Okay. So they in the albums on an iPhone, you'll love this. It sort of has algorithms that try to identify objects in pictures. So if you're looking for a picture and you can remember something that was in the picture, you can search the thing and it'll just know that there was like a certain car in there, or a certain person in there.
That's nuts.
Yeah, that stuff is crazy.
Man. I thought I had a Florida man in the news story here somewhere too.
There was one you posted on Facebook about somebody's member getting cut off.
Yeah, that's the one I'm looking for. Yeah.
Florida man, punchline. Damn it.
COVID is going away because Florida man is back in the news. He's out and he's on the prowl. Oh, okay. I got two Florida man.
All right, let's do it.
All right, here's one Florida man. Let's see. A judge in Florida on Monday ordered a psychological evaluation of a man accused of sexually assaulting two stuffed animals, including Olaf from Frozen, in a Target store.
That's just crazy.
Okay, he was charged with mischief and exposure of sexual organs. That usually does lead to mischief.
It does.
Took place at a Target in St. Petersburg. He first found a stuffed unicorn and allegedly dry humped it in the view of a Target loss prevention officer. And then it went from a dry hump to
the full out.
Yeah. The suspect grabbed Olaf. Is that how you say it? I don't know these things.
Olaf.
And he did that until he started dry humping, and then it was he told cops that he did stupid stuff and nutted on Olaf.
So bad.
His family says he has mental problems, no kidding, and he was arrested before with stuffed animals in a Walmart in Clearwater. So Florida man back.
Now, I don't know if this was in Florida, but it was probably the worst story like that I've read in a while. So a dude set up his wife's corpse on the couch so that she can watch them open Christmas presents.
That was Florida. That was in Orlando. Really? Yeah. And then he told the kids, "Mommy's very bad because she ruined Christmas for us." Oh, how do you? That story. The Christmas tree. The kids are opening gifts, and I guess they had some kind of fight, and the mom fell and supposedly busted her head or something, and she got killed. And the old man was still so pissed, he just set her on the couch while the kids are opening gifts, and it was just, "Mommy ruined Christmas for us. Mommy ruined Christmas."
Oh, so bad.
I know. It's just it's good to see though that Florida man is making a comeback.
Right.
You know,
he was silent. He's quiet for a while.
Right. You know, now that we're lifting all the quarantines and stuff, he'll be back in full swing here. Alex Bonilla, 51, was ordered to spend 20 years in prison. He allegedly barged into his neighbor's home where he proceeded to threaten the man with a handgun and a pipe. See, I like the old school. That's like that guy that robbed the Family Dollar the other day on the South Side with a machete. Don't you just like go a little old school once in a while? Crowbar, tire iron, switchblade knife.
Yes.
Go old school for a little bit. You don't need a gun for every little thing. But anyways, he forced the man into a bedroom and tied him up before, quote, forcefully cutting off the victim's penis with a pair of scissors. The married father allegedly told the man, "This is normal. You'll not die today." He took the appendage and ran across the street to his own home. I don't know if they found it or not, but he's going to spend the next 20 years in jail. Now, do you think that's worth it? I mean, if you had to look at the trade-off, okay, your neighbor is banging your wife, So you're pissed. So you decide to cut off his junk.
And you go to jail.
Then you go to jail for 20 years. Was it worth it?
Exactly. See?
Some people might be saying, hell yeah.
Not me. No way.
No, it would have been, hey, you want them?
That's right.
Have at it, man. Just go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, here's a headline for you.
Florida man arrested for murder after new wife found buried in a backyard. Yeah, Florida man is on the loose now, man. Don't try to stop him. He's back, baby. You know things are getting back to normal when you got 3-4 Florida man stories back in the
That's right.
in the same day, same week. But that's kind of crazy too. But yeah, I don't think I would, I don't think I would want to do anything that's going to get me in jail for a long period of time,
Here's a dude with a face tattoo, and when he got the face tattoo, good things are on the horizon for
Florida man accused of jumping naked on neighbor's trampoline before breaking into his home.
We all got standards here.
So what was he doing? Was he jumping up and down trying to peek in the window to see if somebody's there? Or was he like, you know what? The reason I got a face tattoo and I'm living outside the law is because my parents never bought me a trampoline. I would driving through the rich parts of town and I would see all those kids having so much fun on a trampoline.
And I never had one.
And I wanted a trampoline. And the only thing my dad would say is that my dead mom ruined Christmas for us.
See, we read a better narrative than
person. Speaking of which,
I think he was just smashed out of his mind and wanted to jump naked on a trampoline. That's what actually.
Hey, it's a lot of fun. Believe me.
Yeah.
I can see why. Okay, a Warren man arrested for allegedly threatening a fellow dollar store, Family Dollar customer during an argument over proper social distancing, now faces a federal charge. He's another guy that had some tattoos. Last week, they said a tall white male with face tattoos, pulled a gun on a customer at the Family Dollar. The customer claims that when he complained. A store customer claims that when he complained that the man and his girlfriend were standing in line in front of him within a 6-foot distance, the man allegedly pulled out a gun and said that he'd be waiting for the other customer outside the store. I'll be waiting for you. This is over wearing a mask. Okay. So you're going to pull a gun on somebody for wearing a mask. Police searched the area. They found the man and his girlfriend a couple of blocks away. Probably wasn't very difficult to identify.
No.
This is the Fast Freddie tip of the day from the Fast Freddie School of Criminal Knowledge.
All right, ready?
If you're doing a crime, you don't want people to see you do it on camera. You don't want witnesses, and you don't want any distinguishing marks. That's what they call that, a distinguishing mark. A tattoo on your face is pretty much a distinguishing mark. So those are 3 things that you don't want when it comes to committing a crime. The man had a loaded .32 in his pocket, and he had 36 rounds of ammo, and his girlfriend had a loaded .22 in her hoodie pocket. She said that both weapons belonged to him. And so now, if it's not bad enough, okay, somebody in front of you at the store says, hey, where's your mask? Well, first of all, I never say that because you never know. It could have been worse. He could have got shot over something that's stupid. So it's like, okay, this guy ain't wearing a mask. I'm just going to stand back and let him go about his business. All right, the guy got tattoos all over his face. Okay, why would you start messing with that guy? Okay,
right.
First of all, so now the guy decides to pull a gun. And his girlfriend has a gun. And then he threatens to shoot the guy when he leaves. He's going to be waiting outside for him. And now the guy is facing federal weapons charges because he's a felon with a gun, under. So now all that over.
What? I don't even remember what he got away with.
The mask. He didn't have a mask on.
But, back in my day, people used to commit crimes and they used to put a mask on. So
right. Yeah. I got this backwards here. Oh, wait a minute. I'm committing a crime and I'm not putting a
mask up. I'll show him how rebellious I actually am.
Yeah, look at this, huh? Get a good look at this mug. Where's the security camera? Put that camera on me, bitch. I ain't afraid. But I mean, I see that, with stupid criminals in the news all the time, that they just take it to this extreme and they just bring these problems into their life. That whole thing could have been avoided. Just even ignored the guy. Yeah, okay, buddy, I forgot it. Go along with your business. Or just ignored the guy.
It's like they're trying not to get away with it.
And then you go to that extent, and now you're facing federal gun charges.
Throwing a life away over a mask.
Here's a good hobby for you to replace the police scanner.
Yeah.
If you're like one of these nibby nose busybodies and you still like, it's not quite the police scanner, but when you see these news stories, look these people up on Facebook. That's always a good one. That is always a good one. Hours of fun doing that.
All right.
Yeah.
Is it usually what you'd expect and what you find?
Pretty much so.
Yeah.
Yes. It's probably exactly what you would expect. You don't sit there and go, "Oh, I'm surprised."
He was a preacher online, and now he's jumping naked on
sometimes it's heartbreaking as you see some of these people, but there they are with their kids. They got little kids. Their daddy's holding his little princess and all this stuff, and then then they're out doing this stupid stuff. Or overdosing or whatever. You almost think, man, I got these kids here.
Poor kids.
I owe it to them.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, the woman that was involved, I went to her page and there was something about, there's like this picture bragging about this woman that had like 100 guns, and you just saw like her legs, and she was wearing high heels, and like all on the floor they were surrounded with guns. And I think she had posted on there something like, "My goal, got 3 now," but it's a start.
Wow.
And you're just sitting there looking at that and you're going, well, first of all, I think you probably want to get that off your page.
Yes, it's a little incriminating.
Because, the first thing, when you get arrested, don't you think the very first thing the cops are going to do is look on your Facebook page?
I think so, yeah.
That's exactly where they're going.
I don't have a gun.
Yeah, right. And it's, sometimes you see that stuff on there and you go, okay, I could see why these people are that way.
Yeah.
And then if you really want to get nosy, then you start digging into their friends. And then you see like some crazy people on there. Okay. And then you're like, oh, man. But then it makes you nervous because you're going, wow, this is going on in my town. Whew.
But at the very least, it makes you feel very smart. Very smart.
I hope. As long as I stay away from that Jägermeister, I think I'll be doing okay. Yep. But yeah, it's just amazing on how many problems these people just bring on themselves. Think about that. What are you doing when you're sitting there and the judge is sentencing you to 20 years in prison because you cut off your neighbor's junk? Your life is done. That guy looked like he was 51? You're in jail now till you're 70, dude. You're done. Your life is completely over.
Yep.
I mean, now, do you think these guys are so stupid that when they do something like that, do you think at some point they become remorseful and just say, how stupid was I?
No, I don't think their brains work like that. I don't think they're thinking like that.
They sit there and go,
You'd hope,
was
though.
Really stupid.
You'd hope one day that they did, but
I see some of these guys that go to jail for murder and these senseless killings. And, that's one of the things I always would want to ask, like, dude, when did you realize that you screwed up? I mean, at what point did you realize I'm done? My whole life is shot. Yep. Like that one guy that's on trial for shooting Rowan in Struthers, mm-hmm. and those two that were involved in that whole thing. Of course, like on cops, everybody's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But you could tell by his mugshot the other day, he just had this look on his face, and you're sitting there going, now what's going through this guy's mind? You're involved in a murder of a 4-year-old kid, and you shot 4 other people, or 4 other people were shot in the commission of this crime, and people died. And what do you do over a stimulus check?
Yeah.
And now, I mean, is there that one point of reckoning where you just sit there and go, what the hell did I do? Or you're 18, 19 years old, and you're never getting out. Death penalty, no death penalty. You are here. You could be here for the next 80 years.
Key thrown away.
You could be here. You're at least going to be here for at least 40.
Yep.
You're going to be here for the next 40 years at least because you did something so freaking stupid. I just don't get it. I don't get it. But if I ever had a chance, I would like to write a book about that and just talk to these people because some of them seem like they have no remorse. I mean, there are people out there that kill these people and stuff, have no remorse whatsoever. Right. They'd do it again in a heartbeat. Yep. But I mean, you look at some of these people and you're just going, did that guy realize what he really did? You know,
caught up in the moment over a cheeseburger and then life's over.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's it just freaks me out. Freaks me out. Well, not freaks me out. It makes me wonder. Like, what are you thinking? What were you thinking? What were you thinking when you pulled that trigger? When you guys concocted this whole scheme? What were you thinking? Well, you're going to get a $1,400 stimulus check? And now you're done.
Yep.
You're done. You ruined so many people's lives by taking somebody away from them. And now you're done. You're done. Your life is finished.
Yep.
You're going to be sitting in a cage until you're 80 years old.
That's right.
You're 19. You're 20 years old. Good luck.
That's right.
Adios, amigo.
And if at home you're keeping score, we've come to the conclusion that women do this to us and dollar stores, it seems. So stay away from both of those.
Right. The dollar store, the dollar stores are catching right up there with Walmart. Yep. That's for sure. Yeah, Walmart's still the king. No matter what happens. If Florida man does something, it's, it makes news. If Florida man does something at Walmart or the Family Dollar, it just takes it to another level.
That's right.
Or like when something happens, it's sometimes in a trailer park and it's just like, okay, it takes it. And not that I have anything against any of that, but
just noticing themes is all.
When you see that, it brings to mind, Yeah, Jaybird says he thinks that they don't think about it at all. They just act impulsively, kind of like a bass or whatever. They see that little fish jiggling around. They see that, that little piece of silver. Oh, look, it's a minnow. Got to eat it. Boom. Yep. And it seems like it's just that basic, primal instinct that you don't even think about it. You just see it there and got to have it.
Yeah.
And boom. And you just get it. And then the next thing you know, you're in somebody's boat and you're in my skillet,
Yeah, they should do PSAs that kind of put out there like what the penalties for doing stupid stuff is. So like they might hear that if you rob a store, you lose 40 years of your life. If you do this, whatever. Because I don't think they realize it.
No, you know what? See, and I always thought too that maybe that's what we need. Maybe instead of, they banned Cops, they banned First 48 's still on, Live PD, all my favorite shows. I guess it goes back to me and my daddy,
right.
me and my pap,
Scanner.
Me and my pappy, listen to the police scanner back in the day. Daddy smoking Pall Malls and drinking Carling's Black Label beer,
right?
And some homemade brandy. My dad used to like his brandy, and maybe they should just have a TV series and maybe show this in schools and stuff of people that did this and that are remorseful and are sitting there now saying, don't do what I did. Think for a second. This is the stupidest thing that I could have possibly did. Don't make this mistake.
Do you remember Scared Straight?
Yeah.
That was like probably the most impactful thing, right?
Right.
You want to go in here? Yeah, that was that.
But I mean, if you had some true confessions, and you know what? I mean, if I don't know. Just do that, or even have a class at school. Say, listen, we want to keep all you kids on the straight and narrow.
Yep.
We're not worried. We're not going to tell you about, when you could decide whether you're a man or a woman, or, without telling your parents. We're not going to go down that road. But you know what? Every one of you for the next 10 weeks is going to sit in this classroom and you're going to watch every one of these videos. You're going to listen to every one of these people's stories. And at the end of the 10 weeks, we're giving you a test. You're going to write a paper on this whole thing.
Yep.
And
that would do some good.
You know what? I mean, I think that would be something that would maybe get some people, to stay on track.
That's right.
Yeah. I think that would be like, mandatory thing.
Yep.
Or especially if you're a juvenile delinquent, you got in trouble.
Yeah, that stuff works. I mean, in high school, that they would park the smashed up car, the DUI car in front of it, and it would scare the crap out of everybody, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yep. I remember when they used to have that, some of them classes in some of them schools where they would make you carry around a baby doll for like a week.
An egg. And we do an egg.
Yeah. And say, okay, now listen, you guys want to go screw around? You don't want to be careful. You want to have a kid. Here's what's going to be.
Right.
Now that we're going to give you this 1 week. Now we'll multiply that over the next 18 years at least. Okay. 21 probably.
Right.
And beyond that. So I don't know.
I was a deadbeat dad on that. I paired up with someone who just took the kid and I didn't have to do anything with it. So I didn't get the message.
Yeah. Boy, I didn't drink too much of my espresso today.
No,
that's because my back is hurting me.
Yeah.
My back is hurting me. I'm a little off today because of that shot. But don't let that discourage you from getting it. I'm not like, move, where I pulled my back. That's what's really hurting me.
That's what we reminisced. I mean, you're getting old, and that's the real reason for this. And we figured we'd tell your story.
I hear you. Well, you ready to wrap it up,
Yeah,
man?
let's do
Another
that.
good show. Coming up in the next few weeks, I'm finalizing my guests. We're going to get back to some really good guests again. And I got a lot of fun stuff coming up, a lot of great guests. And I think you're really going to enjoy it. So just bear with me until, we get all these schedules squared away. We'll be back on Tuesday, and that's about it. Peace out.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. If you like our programming, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow our Facebook page, or subscribe to your favorite podcast platform like iTunes or Spotify. This is original Youngstown content, and we would appreciate you sharing the videos and the word about us.